Act right. Peace, everyone. How you doing? Welcome to Israel Doctrine's Google Hangout. I'm your host, Carl Lambert, and you have now entered into our Hangout. And quiet is kept. There was a show did on Debate Talk for You with Sal Showtime the other night. It was called the Israel God Effect. The co-host with Sal was Mikha'el Ben Israel, who is a member of the Israel of God, and he brought the elder of the Israel of God, Brother Bowie, over, and a couple people from the Israel of God, and some people from other camps, and or classes, leaders, teachers of other classes and stuff. And as many as could make it over, they made it over. He asked me about it. I was supposed to be in Florida. I'm putting all that off the next month, though. We doing an urban empowerment tour. So I'm trying to do everything right as far as marketing and promotion with that. That's why I went in Florida this weekend. But anyway, to a degree, I already told him he forgot to call me and remind me, because even if I was on the bus or something, I could have did it, but I wasn't thinking. I got a lot of stuff on the mind. But I did listen to it. It was a great show and everything, conversational wise. And I wanted to tune in, so I thought it'd only be right to go get the brother that, kicked it off with Sal and things of that nature, so we could talk about it. And I just wouldn't be over here, trying to hog the spotlight, But anyway, without further ado, we're going to start off with the brother commenting about what happened over there. I'm going to ask him a couple questions, Then I guess we just going to have an open dialogue back and forth. He might ask me some questions. There you go. So, Mikha'el Ben Israel.
All right, thanks, Brother Carl. Thanks, ID, for having me. Grace and peace and shalom to the audience, to everybody listening. Yeah, it was a real interesting show. It was really kind of groundbreaking, as Sal said, on as far as on a radio standpoint. Because for one, Brother Bowie does not do interviews like that. I mean, he's done a few in the past, but he doesn't do it. So I got to get more credit to Sal, because Sal actually been hounding me for the past few years to try to get Brother Bowie on. First, he just wanted an elder because he knew it was going to be hard to get, or he felt it was going to be hard to get Brother Bowie to do an interview. But, his persistence paid off, and then he caught me at a good time, because I felt like the light should have been shined more with the big delay of my Chicago documentary that I was working on last summer. I got set back real bad, and I just wanted to shine. I think it was a perfect time to shine the light, because since everybody from the outside seems to have their targets on the quote unquote Hebrew Israelites, I know you don't use that term, but we're using it for the sake of that's what everybody sees. And so being that the light was shined on them, a lot of times they like to shine the light on just the more, as you could say, probably would be viewed as negative parts of the community from certain people's eyes or whatever. So yeah, the brother, we got the show together by the glory of the Most High. We was able to get it together, and it went real nice. It started with me. A shout out to the brother Isaac K. Fingers from the Wake Up Show. He was on there. Brother Elijah Israel, the head teacher at the ICOJ, which is the Israel Church of Jesus, one of our sister camps, as we call them. And brother, your friend, Brother Rodney, known as Pastor Russ to a lot of people, or Brother Rodney, and from the Israel Church of the Living God. And we also had Brother Stevie Robinson, my dear brother, over Preacher Head Ministries. And so I didn't want to have too many people, but I needed to keep pillar people, and I wanted unfortunately I wasn't able to get Brother Danny, the head teacher over the House of Jacob, in the camp that some of the teachers, of course, intimately on a you know, spiritual level, because you know, you dealt with the teachers and stuff that come through these. And so I wasn't able to get him. I think I waited too late, basically. You know, the man real busy, but everything happens for a reason. That's the way the Most High wanted it. And I mean, the show was beautiful, man. So if anybody wants to see the original show, I ask that you go to my Hebrews in the Hood channel. That's Hebrews with a Z at the end, Hebrews in the Hood channel. I would prefer you go there, because, you know, Sal put it out on Debate Talk for You channel already, and, you know, he almost at 1,000. I'm only sitting at about 300. So I would advise, you know, I would like for you to go to the Hebrews in the Hood channel. So it was nice, man. I mean, we talked about key issues. Basically, we all gave testimonies on how we came into the truth first, like at what point in our life we were in when we came into the truth and found out that we were the children of Israel, and basically where it took us from that point. And the key points I was trying to, me and Sal was trying to bring out in this interview was the impact, like it says, as far as on lives and as far as in the Hebrew Israelite community as a whole, because they don't get talked about as much. But amongst Israelites, everybody know they're there, because they've been there for a long time. And it also cleared up a lot of misconceptions on where we came from. You know, did we come from, you know, other camps, like, you know, the brothers on the East Coast and things of that nature. And that is absolutely, you know, to anybody in the Israelite community, we all know that that's two totally different origins. So we brought that out. And then also Brother Bowie himself went into the history of it, how he was 9 years old when he first found out he was an Israelite, from his brother, who was part of some already established Israelites in Chicago. But Brother Bowie was down south, of course. He was a kid living down south, but his brother was going back and forth from Chicago and to down south. And he was telling them that they were Israelites. And then he went into how later, you know, he knew this, but how later in life, I think he said about 15 years later, in his 20s, he bumped into his teacher, which is Brother Stern, who I had the pleasure of meeting about 2 or 3 times in my life before he passed. And, you know, so he went into he didn't go as deep as I know he could have went, because I know a little bit of the history, but he made it just nice in general. And so, you know, he went into that. And I also wanted to shine light on the other camps outside of IOG that they're their own camps, they're their own entity, yet they all were taught by the same teachers, you know, Bowie and you know, basically Bowie and you know, the teachers that his teacher taught him, and they went on to create their own camps. And it's never been no beef. Like, you know, people have little differences or whatever. It's just their time to go, and they feel the Most High has driven them to start their own part of the body to go out and touch a different demographic, and instead of going back and forth and beefing like it's some gang thing. You know, I had never seen that as far as the camps that come out of Chicago. And so really what it's did is opened up, it's kind of worked in my favor on all the plans I want to do. It's made it easier for me. So now I have footage for when I do decide to do my documentary, and I'm thinking of taking it further. And being that I do know other pillars per se in the Israelite community in Chicago, you know, I might reach out to Prince ICL and them from the Kingdom of Yahweh. You know, Ben I meet people in them that went to Demona, Israel. You see, that's a whole nother chapter over there. So I just had to start at home first. So that's basically where we at, bro.
All right, yeah, that's pretty much the gist that I got from it. Now, however you want to do it, just open talk or whatever, you know, it is what it is. I'm ready for whatever.
Okay. Yeah, so by me doing that, I wanted to make it real to people, because like we say, we know that this Israelite thing is growing in unchartable numbers as far as the so-called Black community is concerned in the Western Hemisphere. It's undeniable. It is the fastest growing, quote unquote, belief that there is out there. Of course, we look at it as ethnicity and origin and nationality, but they put it under a religion. But either way, it is the fastest growing movement out there, and that's because the Most High is orchestrating it. And you know, and so with that being said, you're going to have the naysayers. You're going to have people that have to, you know, it's caught a lot of people off guard. It's caught a lot of oppositions. It's kind of caught them off guard. But the funny thing about it is when you hear people criticize the so-called Hebrew Israelite community, they speak as though it's something new. Like, you know, it just popped up a couple of decades ago. And all what we're proving is it goes back, you know, at least to the 1800s. But of course, me and Carl know it goes back further because the Lord said he had somebody that know in every generation. So it goes back to West Africa and everything. But as far as here, it's always been around. You know, the light was just always shine more on organizations like the Nation of Islam, Lord Science Temple of America and all that. But it was always Hebrew Israelites around them. So, you know, I basically want to take this from a whole nother standpoint. So what I was doing was, my goal was to take the personal lives of people and have them just go into their life and show how real it is. You know, it's not some hocus pocus stuff. And that's where you come in at. Like you said, I tried to remind you a couple of times, even once live on there, you know, that we were going to have it, but I knew you would be busy. But I should have tried to call you that day. So I apologize. So this is the payback, because you definitely need to have your slot through in there, because regardless of what some people may think, you have played a very important role, you know, as far as shining the light on the Israelites that come out of the Chicago camps, if you want to call them that. I'm using generic terms because this is what people familiar.
Well, Chicago area, Chicago link.
Right, the Chicago area Israelites. You know, through social media, you have been pushing that for a long time. You was one of the first, actually, I've seen on YouTube, Blog Talk Radio, and all of that, coming with that, you know, different perspective of the Israelite thing. So with that being said, I might as well pick up where I left off and ask you what I asked them. Now, I don't have my questions written down no more, but I kind of remember them by heart, so we can just do it, make it platonic, so it'd be even better. So I want to ask you, brother Carl, when did you first hear the possibility that the true Jews, quote unquote, or Israelites were of Black descent, per se?
Well, my timeline is simple. 96, Pac got shot. I was in the whole Machiavelli, you know, Illuminati. I was ready to thug out. I was basically considering myself a Machiavelli trained soldier, disciple, whatever. I was about ready to thug out on Chicago at the time. I'm gonna let that motorcycle pass by. So, you know, I got in a little couple scuffles and stuff. I was trying to rap, running around, messing with Crucial and Do or Die, different people. Just wilding out. And I went to a music store on North Avenue, down by the Walgreens and McDonald's, the movie theater, everything that was Piper Alley, everything that was there at the time. I don't know if everything's still there now. I think for the most part, Piper Alley turned into a fitness gym and stuff right there in that area on North Avenue, headed towards the beach. And I went into this music store. And so they had a Killer Priest CD, which they had for a demo or whatever, but wasn't nobody buying the Killer Priest CDs. So the brother was like, "Hey man, you want this CD?" I ain't know what it was. It was rap. I was into it, and I was listening to the Wu and different people because I was trying to find somebody else to deal with outside of Tupac. So Killer Priest CD was the first thing to introduce me to it unknowingly. I didn't know that he was you know, saying Maccabees and, you know, and doing all these different things, basic instructions before leaving Earth, the Bible and different stuff. And he doing all of this and talking that conversation. And, you know, he come out of that northeast corridor, quote unquote, like you sound like using the term, but I use it. Hebrew Israelites. And I didn't know what I was listening to, the heavy mental and stuff, you know. So then as time go on, my nephew, he go to this security school or whatever with this other brother by the name of Samson, Israel. He from the house of Jacob, which brother Danny, you know, pretty much left off from the Israel.
I remember Samson, big brother, right? With the long hair, with like had locks or something.
He had a little like Jerry curl. He from Cabrini Green. He was kind of stuck in that time frame. You know how, you know. But anyway, he kind of short, light skinned. I'll tell you off air who his family is at the Israel of God. You know his family. You know what I'm saying? You know his brothers and stuff. So okay. The family is all connected from the Israel of God, house of Jacob, you know, and things to that nature. Just some on the south, some on the west, and things of that nature. So my nephew met him, and as brothers do, they were sitting up. Me and my nephew was studying the Bible and stuff because we was dealing with the whole, you know, Machiavelli, Black liberation theology through Tupac and the Machiavelli album and everything. And so my nephew get to talking to him. So he run to the trunk, popped the trunk on him. He got a gun. He had the Bible, which is worse than a gun. You know, he shot holes in some of the stuff I guess my nephew was trying to bring to him. And he was hitting them with, I guess, the statement from the Old Testament. Thus said the Lord. Thus said the Lord. So my nephew came home on some thus said the Lord. Thus said the Lord. I'm like, what the hell wrong with this boy? Thus said the Lord. So he kind of introduced me to the mentality that the Lord talked through the Bible from his conversation with Samson that day. So I was like, the Lord speak through the Bible. Never heard that concept before. Well, if he speak through the Bible, I want to deal with the Bible more because I'd rather listen to the Lord than listen to man. Simple as that. You know me, I'm Mr. Simplicity. So I go reading and I see thus said the Lord and all of this. I said, this is how I'm finna deal with the book. So I went to Moody Bibles and bought me a Bible. Same one I be floating around every now and then on screen. And it was a Bible concordance and it gave you different scriptures and stuff. So me and Samson get on the phone one night. We go over the Holy Ghost. Now I had my concept, not from no teachers and stuff, just from my reading. And, you know, eventually we get to Gabriel and all of that stuff, which, you know, blows people's mind. But anyway, he breaking stuff down. He taking me to scriptures. I didn't know he was coming off the head. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm all good with what you're saying, this and that. So one day we meet and he break the book out again and he coming off the dome again. I guess he was coming off the dome then. I'm like, he ain't even got a Bible concordance. How you remember these scriptures? How you doing that? And he taking me here. I said, okay, I want to learn how to do that. So thus said the Lord and going through the scriptures was my introduction by Samson Israel from the house of Jacob. And most people from the house of Jacob know me, you know, so I started going to class and everything. Brother Danny's about to lead the Israel of God or left the Israel of God. He hooked up on the west side. And so I'm going to the Israel of God. I'm going to the house of Jacob, you know, depending on where Samson go or however it worked. And so, you know, that was my introduction to the Israel of God, then the house of Jacob. And those was the only two classes at the time from the time Brother Danny Ashcroft left the Israel of God to go to the west side of Chicago, in which there was nobody on the west side. So, like you said, no matter what the situation was, when he went to the west side people now had less of a drive to go out to 75th, and now you had 2 camps in Chicago, basic, same camps with the same doctrine, you know, 2 brothers that teach the same thing. And that was my introduction to this Israelite lifestyle.
Okay, perfect. Now that takes me into my next question on what you just said, that term Israelite lifestyle. We're going to touch on that next, but we could talk off air about, I know for a fact, I remember Brother Sampson. He used to read sometime on a show.
Oh, you know him, like I said, soon I tell you a couple names and put it together, you going to say, ooh.
Okay, I got you. I remember. You remember they show they had the Word of Truth used to come on? Yep, got you. Okay. Speaking of Israelite lifestyle, that was actually my next question. I just wrote it down. And my question is, so what was the big difference you noticed, bro, in the lifestyle that it promotes? Like what is the difference? Like being around them and stuff like that. What's the difference than basically the rest of the world that people might not understand?
Well, one of the big differences, it's not just your Sunday church thing. So you seen people smoking. You know, it wasn't no big thing. Some people smoke their cigars and stuff and everything, you know, at different functions and stuff. You know, and some people that was just coming that had a smoking habit, it's like, well, we can't tell you not to smoke on the Sabbath day, but you got to go over there with that because we don't promote the fire and doing this on the Sabbath day. So I was like, but you know, they ain't tripping on if you smoke. And then at feast, you know, they read that scripture at every feast. You can buy you some strong drink.
Deuteronomy 4.
And then you see people, they breaking out the Hennessy, they breaking out different stuff, and you like, they really finna drink. So it was like, okay, that's cool. You can drink, you can feast, and then at the feast, it's so much food that afterwards they go give it to shelters and different stuff, and you can take stuff home. Food galore. You know, all them sisters in there cooking and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Then from that, you know, not eating the pork and doing different stuff. It was just, it was a whole nother lifestyle. It was like beards and, you know, which I grew my beard because I just didn't want the bumps and stuff on my face. I had got an infection on the hair bump. But, you know, the beards, they was all shaped up and everything. You know, old school cats was looking dope with their beards and stuff. It was just, man, it was different. You seen the brothers walking around with the staffs and stuff and everything. And brothers walking around with the 10 Commandments on their neck. And it was just a whole new world. It was like, I could dig this. You know what I'm saying? I could dig this. And then the fact that it was thus said the Lord and people went to the book, sold me on everything. I really didn't care about much but the text. That's why I went and bought the Concordance Bible so I can be like, well, what scripture go with what scripture? And it was a study Bible. I was just in the study in the Bible back then. I ain't do nothing but study the Bible. I went crazy to a lot of people. They like, that Negro don't do nothing but read that Bible and sit in the house and come out, shoot ball every now and then and go back in the house. And every time you see them, it's the 10 Commandments and thus said the Lord. So it was a whole different lifestyle, you know, a whole change of life. You know, people start seeing it real quick. They could tell the difference.
You know what? To land back off that, I think that's one of the things we didn't even get into we didn't really get into the little details like that on the show, but that's a perfect opportunity to do it. I remember that same thing, bro. I was kind of tripping because I was like, you know, coming from the Vice Lord thing / Moorish American thing, you know, I was already cool with the not eating pork. And the funny thing about it was their holy night their holy day was Friday night. So I was already used to you not being prohibited from some activities on Friday night. So when I seen them and they was telling me, you know, well, you know, the Lord's Sabbath day ain't Sunday, man. It's Saturday, man. But I'm like, then why y'all starting Friday night? Then they break that down the evening and in the morning. It was like, man, God's days start in the evening. And the sun is the latter part of that day. And I'm like, wow, you know, and then they took me to, I think that's Daniel 9 or 7, something like that, where they say he gonna change, he gonna look to change the times and days and stuff like that. And I'm like, whoa, you know, this thing real. You know what I'm saying? And I remember a brother asked me one day, he said, could you tell me when do a day start? I said 12 o'clock midnight. He said, how can a new day start in the middle of the night and you didn't see it? I'm like, huh? Like, yeah, he took me to Genesis, said the sun and the moon is for times. And he was like, so you're supposed to be able to see that the day has changed. How else could you record it? And I'm like, damn, it was simple stuff like that that blew me away. And like you said, I go to the feast and stuff, see the brothers with the beards, the sisters with the head covered and stuff, you know, dresses and stuff like that. And everybody just having a good time. And I'm like, wow, this ain't like what churchy people be like. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, just to kind of feed off what you were saying. You can go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, that was it. And then the fact, you know, all my life being around people that say they dealt with the Bible, nobody demonstrated line upon line, precept on precept, here a little, there a little, and knock subjects out of the park. And I wanted to learn that. That was my goal, to be like that. But I'm not gonna lie. What I had to learn from what I was gathering, but then nobody teach me, you can't beat up your brothers and sisters. And in Christ, if they unknowing of what you know, or your family members. But I learned this by one of the, you could say it was controversial to a degree, but it wasn't controversial. It was just Brother Danny went off a little bit before he left the Israel of God, and he did love thy neighbor as thyself. I can't remember the exact title of it, but it was love your neighbor. And he was like, hey, some of you, you know, Saturday people and people that know you Israel and stuff, y'all lack what the church lack. Y'all lack love. And that lesson right there cut me and it stopped me from wanting to just beat up on people. Now you get people, as they say, Bible thumping, and they want to, oh, I know more Bible and you don't know stuff. So I was still, because I would say coming from the Israel of God, it was all about Bible thumping. You can get it if you want it. But
yeah,
that lesson right there made me say, yeah, you got to be more compassionate instead of trying to, as people hear people say, I cut you. It's like, nah, I healed you. I didn't cut you. Cutting people make people mad, and you could kill somebody with a sword. But if your sword is to defend,
right,
and to, you know,
right,
be used to just against those who really push false doctrine and not those that, you know, really looking for it, then, you know, defending the word is better than going out and beating up other stuff. So I came with the whole, I ain't anti this, I'm pro this. And
right.
I've been that way for a long time. And that's something I had to learn. But the Brother Danny legendary tape or lesson, and anybody that's been around since 96, 97, know of that lesson that he gave, you know, love thy, hold up, it was love works no ill to us, his neighbor, something like that. I forget the title, but the title was dope. And the way he laid it down, and he was getting at people like, it's about love. And I learned my lesson from that lesson.
Yeah, that's powerful. And I know how Danny, I'm gonna tell you, man, Danny is one of the most powerful preachers. And it's funny if anybody I mean, it's funny if anybody meet him, because it will catch you off guard, because he's so soft-spoken. You know, he's a soft-spoken
preaching. Then man, that I kind of be,
I get big.
Kind of close. He started preaching, that I start popping open and stuff, and you like,
I promise.
Woke up, boy.
I promise, man. About a couple of years ago, I went to a Passover, man. Cause that, that's what that's what I do sometimes. Of course, I go to the IOG Passovers, and Feast of Unleavened Bread, and the House of Jacob is famous because they actually feast all 7, and so I would go one night and then double up and then go to the IOG ones, of course, the next day. And I went there, man, and that brother got into this lesson, man. He was dealing with the Passover and the feast and Jesus Christ being the Passover lamb. And man, that brother, he almost had me in tears, Joe. I had to literally get up and pimp it on outside because I ain't want nobody to see it. He got to talking about, man, but you'd have had to been there. I ain't gonna put out there what he said, but I'm like, that dude will open up on you. But okay, so let me say, okay, cool. What's one of the things you think you learned? Because I'm gonna tell you what stood out to me. One thing is these 2 questions are connected, but I'm gonna let you just naturally bounce off of them. One thing I noticed is that coming from the lifestyle I came from, right, which is well documented. I don't have to get into that, but it was very criminal. It was very violent. And when I went there, bro, I'm seeing cats that I knew from school that I was gangbanging with. I'm like, damn, you go here? Then I'm seeing elders, teachers, like elders sitting up in that joint, man. I ain't gonna, say no names, but they was known. They was from the hood. They was them dudes, man. And now they in there straight, they on that word of God, and they for real, man. And I'm like, I felt at home because it was like, and I'm not saying like it's just a bunch of criminals up in the camps, but I'm keeping it 100. It's so diverse. It's the first place where I could see somebody that was a former gangster sitting next to somebody that's a doctor, sitting next to somebody that's an athlete, sitting next to somebody that's a politician. And I'm like, you know what I'm saying? So tell me what you think about that.
Well, it was a bunch of converts in there. And one thing, Brother Bowie being from the South, Arkansas, like me. He come from Pine Bluff. I come from Parkin. What's the brother? What's his name? Deep Talking. What's it? Melvin. Melvin's wife used to go to school here. She didn't really grow up here, but she was through Parkin and stuff. That's kind of funny. I remember when me and him first talked. He was like, yeah, my wife went to school in Parkin. Which, that show you the small world. But anyway, one thing that he said is, that stuck with me is, like, smarts of being intelligent and stuff is relative to your profession or whatever, or what you do. And one thing about the Israel of God, we professionals here. We ain't no laymen's or no this and that. We professionals.
Yeah.
Our job is to teach this book, and you can get this book when one of us break it open. We professionals. So that's what it was. The men of God, or the men that came to God, got a fundamental sound teaching from fundamentally sound teachers, and they could fundamentally and soundly, do what they was professionally chosen to do, teach the word of God. So, all them converts in there from different walks of life, because you find your scientists, you find your doctors, you find different people that still go to your harlot houses on Sunday, and they can't even receive the word of God or comprehend it and understand it in its simplicity, in its soundness. But lawyers and doctors is up in the Israel of God. And then your layman, your street dude that's unlearned in anything, besides chemistry and mathematics and stuff, where you getting that money, how you getting that money on the street and stuff.
Right, definitely chemists, right.
Yeah. They learning the word of God in a professional manner, and how to be able to teach it and give it to the people in the manner in which it turns them from sin and turn them to righteousness, which brings about reconciliation and the salvation of one's soul. So, I mean, that's what I was seeing. It was doing it for me because I knew, you know, though, like I was telling the brother the other day, I always been a moral dude and had principles and standards. That's just growing up in the South and growing up around old schoolers, real men. As Andre 3000 said in one of his songs, you're going to have to go to the museum pretty soon to find out what a lady is. They're going to have one stuffed in there, and they're going to be like, now that was a lady. And it's the same thing about a man. When you really look for a real man, you're going to have to go to the museum and be like, that is a statue or mummy or whatever, what they call it, sculpture or whatever of a man. You see how he dressed, you see the build, you see that's a man. You know, so growing up around men, I always had that. But going around them men, it brought something else to the table. So, especially with the understanding and the soundness of the book, once you get that, you know what I'm saying? Once again, you done went to the next level. You in a whole nother ball game. You living an Israelite lifestyle. You dealing with the commonwealth of Israel now. So now you have a wealth of knowledge and you have insight on stuff that you never had before. And the beautiful thing was about it, like you had Brother Bowie, you had Brother Danny, then you had Azaria around, which a lot of people they come to class, they see Azaria and be like, Bowie ain't teaching today. I'm hollering, I'm going home, which is the truth. I just got to tell the truth about it. And every brother know that they was like, oh, Azaria teaching today? But, you know, he had his way of teaching this stuff, but people were so used to Bowie and Danny and stuff that they like, I don't want to hear Azaria. But, you know, depending on his lesson, Brother Azaria was killing stuff. But, you know, you had different teachers that brought different angles and soundness to different portions of the book. You had Brother Danny, he'll never tell you about Washington Park and Moores Hill and how he got into it with people, but he would have that stuff like the lesson I'm talking about, you know, love works no ill to his neighbor. You know, I did that on Debate Talk one time because that lesson was so profound to me that, you know, if you love somebody or you love your neighbor or you just a person that love humanity and people, then you don't want to do have ill will towards man, humanity and stuff. You want to be a person of justice, not no injustice and things of that nature. So, I mean, man, that lesson pricked my heart. You know, I don't remember if I still got it itself for one of the tapes, because I got over 1,000 some tapes in the house. That's how much I was studying and doing my things. I got a bunch of tapes, you know what I'm saying? So that tape ministry did a lot for me.
Yeah, man. And yeah, man, you know, and that's the thing, man. I mean, like dealing with them teachers, I went through that thing too, man, where it was like, man, you could go to a brother and just have a question, man, and it was like it could be answered. You know, I was at the point where I was, and because the thing about it, like even when I came to the truth and realized that I was an Israelite, that I still was studying other stuff. So I wasn't like in no bubble or nothing, but just none of it seemed to really compare. It didn't add up. Like even if you got off into some other old stuff that they consider deep, it never had all the answers. It was just blatant general stuff. And so that's what just made it really like stand out to me. So I know what you mean about that. And I gotta say though, man, you know, yeah, Brother Azaria, man, that's a good brother. That's a good elder, man. That brother deep too. That brother is extremely deep. You know what I'm saying? He just talked a little slow or whatever, you know, but he is one of the finest. And when I say fine, that's a Chicago word. That means like, I know they don't like us hyping them up because they just men, but on the deepness level,
Azaria, like I said, everybody had their thing.
They teachers that they liked, right? Everybody had.
Zaria was your Sunday preacher that knew the truth.
Right.
And I guess people was just leaving Christianity and that Sunday preaching and stuff. Some of them was like, yeah, I'm loving the way he bring it. I can feel it. It's familiar. Right. And then some people was like, oh, that's too familiar. I don't want to hear it that way. And I think that's what it was more than anything, to be fundamental about it.
I think that's the beauty of it and the realness of it, because the diversity of the teachers, what you just touched on, the diversity of the teachers was like nowhere I had ever seen before. You know, like you said, like Brother Zarbi, he would be more on a spiritual thing. Like right now, man, the brother, I asked him a question, man, I'm already bracing for it because I know he's going to blow my socks off with something that's going to have you thinking all the way home, like, man, let me go check this out. Then you had other teachers, you know, like you know, I brought up, had my brother Elijah on there, you know, who started the Israel Church of Jesus out in Gary, Indiana. And I mean, his thing was, he was so down to earth that it's like you felt like you was talking to a brother off the street. You know what I'm saying? He was clean with it. He wasn't, you know, he wasn't ragged and super rude in speech and nothing like that. But it's like you could feel comfortable and say anything to him, and you didn't feel like you was gonna be judged. You know what I'm saying? Then you know how Bowie is. He's straight. He's straightforward with it. He just manly with it. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't get too, like if you super sensitive, and you probably don't really want to, you know, go around Bowie with no super sensitive stuff. Although he got a good heart. When he dealing with that word, he just coming with it. Like he ain't sparing no.
He that Arkansas simplicity, straight to the point.
Right, straight to the point.
He gonna ask you what it is. And if you tell him straight what it is, he gonna give you a straight answer, and then he gonna be like, everything cool? I'll holler at you later.
Right.
If not, he gonna be like, well, what's going on?
Right.
Let's try to simplify it and get to what you really want to know and what you need to deal with. And I'm gonna try to give you this, you know, the straightforward, simple answer, and then we gonna part our ways. So, you know, for me, that worked. It's like, let's make this simple. Let's get to the answer. I'll holler at you later.
Another brother that was real imperative in my growth was Brother Zadi.
Yeah, Zadi. Now
that's dark, Joe. That's one of he got like a scroll in his head. Like when you was talking earlier about how you can just ask a question and they could just say the scripture in verse, like with no book. Like you'd be like, man, how is he doing that? Like, is it a teleprompt down here or something? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Zadi, he got his way of bringing things in a simple manner, straight to the point, and dealing with angles that other people might not touch on and stuff. Everybody got, I think, like I try to tell people, if you don't know a lot of stuff, at least learn one subject.
Yeah.
And master it, that when you talk about that subject, ain't too many people that understand it to that degree. If it ain't nothing but the Sabbath day, you should understand the Sabbath days back and forth from the middle. You should be able to take it apart, put it together, and it's everybody got certain subjects. If it may be more than one, it may be one, but they got certain things that it's like you want to hear them talk about it. You know, I don't want to hear you talk about it. I ain't asking you. I want to hear him. He the man when it comes to this topic. And that's the thing about having a plethora of teachers. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And it's still like that to this day. Like, you know, it's certain brothers that's known for like the history. Like you could go to them, you could ask them a question, and they'll tell you like, no, man, that was during the first captivity of Babylon. They could tell you exactly when it was, and boo bop bam. And you have other cats that'll get deeper on the spiritual side, like, well, the meaning of the feast really got to do with this, and tell you know, like you said, it's a variety of different things. And if you can see in the chat too, bro, because the way I got this up, I don't know how to do it, but I can't see the chat, so if anybody say anything to me, let me know. You know, shoot them a shout out, give them my love. I can't see your chat though.
No, it's all good. They all good in there. It was a question about the difference between Christian and Israelite and stuff. That was basically for me, and that's the only question. Everybody else just chilling. It's just 8 people. It ain't even that many people because a lot of people don't know about this channel and things that you know. I'm not on the main channel. It was flagged, but we gonna keep it going. They'll come later.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. This is something that I wanted to bring out on the last one, but we got kind of just caught in the spirits, you know, and we was all, you know, feeding off each other. But one thing I truly honor and respect, and I see signs of it in all of those sister camps that come up out of the IOG. Is that professionalism that you brought up earlier. Now, one thing, you know, on the show, we did bring up the IOG Plaza. You know, they have a plaza now and gonna have a medical facility, and it started where brothers can get circumcised and things of that nature, because we believe in still getting physically circumcised as well as being circumcised.
I mean, that was a great thing when I heard it, because at the end of the day, it took me I basically came to the understanding probably 9, 8, where I was really like, I'm gonna get circumcised. You need to be circumcised to get baptized, take it to Passover. And one of my brothers was like, if you believe that, well, then why don't you get circumcised? I'm like, man, I go to clinics all day and can't get circumcised. You know what I'm saying? But in 03.
So what? Hold up. So what was it? They just refused to do it for you because they considered you was too.
I mean, it was just, you know, it's different excuses, and it's been so long. You know what I'm saying? So like in 03, I went to the county. I went to Cook County, which is now Stroger Hospital. You know, damn boy, 03. I had to reflect back to 03. That was a beautiful and bad year. One of my worst years in life. But anyway, 03. But anyway, you know, I was dealing with a nurse up there. So, you know, I would be going up there and you know, hanging out, talking with her, dealing with her. So I went and asked them about the circumcision and stuff. And so they sent me out on, like, let me say, it was off King Drive. It was like, I forget the name of the hospital, but it was like on 50th or something, maybe even 60th. And I went out there on a Monday, and they was like, come back Friday. And I was like, yeah. And so I went back that Friday, and they did me in. You know what I'm saying? My man, he was the doctor. He was giving history on it and stuff. You know, I was tearing up and everything. The nurse was like, boy, you all right? You feeling it? And I'm like, nah, man, I'm just happy. I've been trying to get cut for years now.
Right.
And, you know, I went in that Monday, and that Friday they cut me. And as I tell people get to looking at me crazy. I was like, I came home, I was swinging it all over the place. I'm cut, y'all. I'm cut.
Okay.
Well, what you doing? I'm like, boy, I'm happy-go-lucky. I done got cut. I'm finna get baptized. So like the next week, I got baptized and everything. Man, it was a beautiful time. But like I said, that was that was one of my worst years in life. But anyway.
But you know, it was one of your worst years on one part, but it was one of your best on another part.
Yeah, he gave me a chance. I went ahead and I was like, you know, things I've been doing. Boy, if I mess around that today, I'm in trouble. I need to go and get cut. I need to get dipped. And
you was trying to get it all at once, huh?
Boy, I was like, yeah, I got cut one week and baptized the next week. My mother, my father, my siblings that was up there, my cousin, a lot of people that passed was there. You know what I'm saying? They came to see me get baptized. And one of the I remember one of the issues of that day, and I hope the you know, the usher staff didn't you know, got a little better, but I think it might have been a new dude or whatever. But my cousin, she was a female, she was wearing pants and she just wanted to come see me get baptized, and it was after class. And dude was trying to keep her from coming in there. And they told me, I was like, what? I was like, man, y'all gonna get me in trouble before I get ready to get in the water. But I was like, yeah, man, she don't go here and stuff. She just coming to see the baptism. What's your problem, man? We understand, but you know, once again, it's not working no ill will or doing stuff against your neighbor. This her first time here. You got to introduce people to the lifestyle and the understanding and the comprehension. You just can't, you know, do what you're doing right now. Calm down, go find you an elder, usher, or staff person, and let's get this thing taken care of so I can go get in the water without me huffing and puffing before I go in there. But
well, yeah, I could vouch for him. I could vouch for him. It's pretty cool. Like you said.
Yeah. You know, when I went up there for the feast, you know, when everybody was coming up there after that, what was that? It wasn't Passover. It was Tabernacle one. What was it?
I believe it. No, that was unleavened bread, bro. I believe.
No, because I was in St. Louis.
Oh, you know, it had to be Tabernacle then, because it was one of them feasts that was
when Amari was there, when me and you first actually seen each other and stuff.
Yeah, that was I believe that was Tabernacles. Yeah,
you know, when Demona people was there, it was a couple Demona people, a couple and they had the wall where you can take the pictures and stuff.
I don't know if you know that was actually my god brother and them from Demona, Israel. And I didn't even know they was coming. It blew my head back. Some brothers came to my table like, hey man, Mikha'el, did you say you got a brother, you know, that lived over in Demona? I'm like, yeah. They was like, man, he here. I'm like, where you get that from? He was like, Lil Ben Ami is here. That's what they call him, Lil, because he named after Ben Ami. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, okay, I don't believe him. Then, you know, he came over there. He found me. I'm like, what is you doing here? And, you know, that's a whole nother history. Yeah. You know, that it'll shock you that, you know, they came in. He was like, man, no, it was the Pentecost, bro.
Yeah, it was Pentecost. Yeah, the
Pentecost. Because remember, that was like, like historically groundbreaking to see that many Israelites come from all over the world. And that's why he came. He was like, man,
8,000 or so was in the building that day.
Yeah, like 8,000. Like literally, it was stand up. And that's
most people were saying, hey, y'all, there go Israel Doctrine.
Yeah, man. And it was like a who's who of who, because I mean, the experience was so outstanding. You know, that's the first like universal Pentecost we had. Like we invited it was all the IOG camps and anybody else that wanted to come. So the brother from like you say, from Demona, from Kingdom of Yahweh came. And I was like, man, what you doing here, bro? You know, he was like, man, you know, I'm trying to see what the big hype about. It's Pentecost. I'm supposed to be here. I said, man, shalom. And I let him go on about his business. That put a smile on my face. I said, this thing for real.
Yeah, shout out. Rest in peace to brother Naphtali. Yeah, I see.
Yeah, man. That was
in the chat. Yeah.
And that was a loss, man. That was like, we felt that. That's it, shockwaves.
Let's take a step back. Let's just deal with the reader.
Go ahead.
We had brother Naphtali, which was like the legendary teacher, reader for the teachers. He was like the man every time Bowie did his thing. Then you had Ray Ubin came along.
That's my dude, Ray Ubin.
You know, I seen him in West Memphis, Arkansas, when he was down here teaching in Memphis and stuff. And you know, we go Ray back. See that circle right there with Zadik, Ray Ubin, and Fajel and all of them. That's the circle I used to, you know.
Hold on. Stay right there. Let me ask you. Do you remember what their crew was called? They had a crew.
Nah. I ain't never get into their crew name, but
yeah, they crew, because you know they all musicians and stuff. They was called the East Side Jakes. The East Side Jakes, man. Real talk. Ray Ubin, all them, man. They, you know, we used to, like, if anybody know, you know, Ray Ubin, his, you know, they used to call him like, you know, you think he was like the voice of God. Like his voice so deep, you know.
I was like, hold up, let's get a Reader's Day shout out with Naphtali. Yeah. That's what he basically famous for being the reader there He started teaching for a little bit, but he was the reader. He was the reader. And then Ray Ubin come along, and then you like, okay, Naphtali, Ray Ubin, and all these new Jakes, you know, they all right, but them like the legendary voices. That's why, you know, when I talk to some people, they be like, yeah, man, them old tapes used to be, and it's like, it was because them teachers was teaching and them readers was reading. The voice and the way they projected their voice and stuff, it was just like them. It was the dudes. They was the voice.
Yeah.
They like the Chick Hearns and the different people and Dick Vitale of basketball and stuff. When you hear them commentate a game, you like, yeah, this the big game. So when you heard them, it was like, yeah, it's on today. Bowie teaching Naphtali reading, this person reading Ray Ubin, and you like, yeah, this is gonna be fire. He gonna be projecting his voice, and their voice was kind of like the piano player for the Sunday churches. You know what I'm saying? When they start playing them keys and the preacher get up and then the intensity level go, it's like when you got a certain type of reader, you know what I'm saying? Because you can see when they weren't doing it, a lot of them readers, boo, was like, all right, now I'm gonna fire you. I'm gonna fire you.
Right.
Somebody about to get fired. Hey, you stumbling over words, you ain't projecting your voice and stuff. You ain't reading right. You messed me up.
Yeah, man. And one thing about that brother, man, rest in peace, Naphtali, man. Man, on the knowledge side, that brother was so deep, bro. He was the only, like he was famous for being, that brother, man, was the only cat I knew that could literally tell you who every nation was today. Like to a T. Not no guess. Like you got people that say these people is this and all that, not. But you can get them little subgroups that pop up and be like, well, what would they be? And he'll walk that thing back and tell you who everybody was, man. And I actually inspired myself after Naphtali, man. That's why I was really hurt when he left, because I talked to him on the phone for a few hours one day, man. And I thought I knew something. Whew. I'm gonna tell these Israelites out here. We understand that it's stigmas put on camps sometimes, you know, for certain things that camps be involved with. I'm just talking about overall in general with the whole Israelite community, right? But I'm gonna tell you, I know this internet has been very useful, but ain't nothing like sitting down with an elder of Israel that's been in this thing for a long time and pick their brain. Ain't nothing like it, man.
Yeah, I can say that's for sure. Because see, what we talking about is stuff before the internet era. This still in the 90s, going early 2000. People hit MySpace in like 2007 and 8, Facebook in 2009, and you know, YouTube and stuff. And they've been learning from that. They ain't never really been to a class. See, like in Chicago, they call classes. They not called camps, really. You know what I'm saying? Because you going to class. You going there and you about to get about 50 scriptures, especially back in them days, classes back in the 90s, it'd be about 4 hours. You gonna have a notepad full of scriptures that bounce off scriptures. You gonna sit there all day and you gonna be in class.
Right.
That's why people was professional. Because you sit there and he gonna take you through about a 4-hour lesson. You ain't gonna be out thinking about other stuff, and you're gonna be taking notes, and you're gonna be getting a story, and you're gonna be learning the book.
Right. And you know, to further add on to what Brother Carl's saying, y'all, is yeah, they are still, you know, they are called camps, but they don't put emphasis, they put emphasis on classes. If you ever listen, it's class, the classes, you know what I'm saying? They only say camps really when they getting into the logistics of it. They say camps, but they mainly say the classes. And one of the things that, like you was just saying, you know, if you go back, if you ever hear somebody say, this is how you know a cat been around a little while. They passed it to me, but I didn't know the whole history on it, but they kind of passed it to me. But you know, them cats that come from this school, this cloth that we talking about, they might say something like, we from the original University of Israel. If you hear somebody say that, that was a whole thing. You know, them cats becoming an IOG, the University of Israel. And like you said earlier, y'all listen to the show on Debate Talk for You. We even, Bowie brought up, I asked him about the history when we actually had a real school. You know, we had a real school, and, you know, for whatever reasons, you know, he brought out that things didn't work out that way. But it's actually, you know, them some things that's going to probably be in the future. I put it like that. That plaza, we was talking about just getting cut, the medical facility, that's about to turn into something else, like a whole real medical facility. Like, you know, I mean, and that brings me to my next point, Carl. One thing I learned from being around these brothers and sisters is that it is a community within a community. Because when you have such a vast variety in your camps, you don't have to go to the outside establishment, the outside government, other nations or whatever to get what you need. It's all there. You know what I'm saying? We got computer design. We got, like, it's everything there. And one thing that they showed me is that you don't have to be a criminal to succeed. All we try to do is you come up with an idea, more than likely the brothers will support you if you for real about it. And then that's how you share your money with each other. And that's one thing I really respect highly about Brother Bowie and Israel of God.
Yeah, I mean, there's been business virtues from the Israel of God to the House of Jacob to the Church of Israel, which is Brother Marlon on the west side. So to give people a little history on that, Brother Marlon left with Brother Danny. Then he was an elder at the House of Jacob. And so the House of Jacob was in a couple spots out there till they found the original spot that, you know, really became the House of Jacob, but known as the spot right there on the west side off the what's that 55, but what is called on that side of town? It ain't the damn Rhine no more. It's the Eden or whatever it is. But anyway, when he left, he went up north. That's basically considered south from where he was at. He was on North Avenue. So my progression was from the Israel of God, which was on 75th, to the west side, which was closer to me, easier to get to going to Brother Marlon class, which was on North Avenue. And I was on, you know, once again, North Avenue was the, like, Chicago Avenue, North Avenue division and all of that. Running east and west was my thing. So I could get on the North Avenue bus and go right to Marlon class and didn't have to take no extra bus. So that's why I ended up, you know, that's actually where, you know, I was putting in the majority of my work. Eldership came along and everything, teaching the children class and the after Sabbath class and stuff. You know, I did all that stuff till I had to come down here and take care of my mother. But, you know, I was putting in major work. Not to mention, like you said, most of the work I was doing online because I had turned 30. So I was online doing my thing, and I was trying to get the Israel of God, the House of Jacob, the church, well, not the Church of Israel, because Marlon was on YouTube doing this thing pretty hard. But Israel, the Church of Jesus, I was trying to get them all to get online. And I was like, look, man, them other folks out there,
right,
sound and they teaching is messing up a lot of people. These people need some fundamental teaching, not to mention all the people that was a part of these classes that I was seeing online. They was getting knocked off by the people with the sacred name and speaking through tongue and bringing them floating Sabbaths or the lunar Sabbath, and they was hitting them with things that they hadn't been prepared for, fundamentally taught on in these churches, these classes, in these camps, the Israel of God, the House of Jacob, the Church of Israel and stuff. They weren't aware that people was really out here pushing certain type of doctrines. you start hearing about the floating Sabbath, but you really didn't know. It's like, what is they talking about? Floating Sabbath? Because you just now learning the Bible from this perspective. Then you had the Israelites that was dealing with the preterist thing. They had the hermeneutics of the preterist thing, and they was bringing that Matthew 24 completely fulfilled and stuff. And people were like, well, what's that? But once you hit, MySpace, Facebook, and YouTube, you was like, oh, that come from here, and that's coming from there, and this is where they got that at. They ain't getting no revelation. They just listen to this dude that flipped the script, the Passover on the 15th day, Abib and stuff. All these things was foreign to those that hadn't heard them yet. But once they got online, they was being bombarded with this stuff. And that's when back in the day, it was me, Brother Kevin. You would be around there sometime. You had the Brother Kafer. You had James Wesley and them brothers that separated up there in Buffalo, Zadok them, and then you had Josh them, and it was just so much that it was like people didn't even, man, I was like, man, y'all sleeping about what's going online. It's a lot of people getting knocked online.
Right. And to further add on to what you're saying, I remember that's my brother Kafer. That's my dude, man. We hung out in real life a few times, man. I need to call him. I ain't talked to him in a while. But I remember, because see, and that go back to what I was saying, Carl. Like you said, the general people didn't know about all those what we would call strange doctrines, right? But you know who did? Them elders. That's why I say it was always good to ear hustle, because I used to hear certain stuff and I'd be like, man, what are you talking about? But the internet wasn't out like that. And then when I came on Facebook, I'm like, whoa, I remember hearing about this.
I don't know if you falling out, if that's my computer. I muted myself, but I don't know.
Well, can you hear me now?
I most definitely can hear you. They probably heard you too, but I couldn't hear you at first, but I hear you now.
Okay, I was saying that basically giving credit to what you said, like I was saying, it's always good to hire them elders, because like you say, to the general public of the class or the camp, a lot of them wouldn't have heard a lot of these what we would consider strange doctrines, back then, like the floating Sabbaths, and you can't keep the law outside of Jerusalem and all that type of stuff unless they got out there in the street. Now, I knew about it from listening to the elders. Because, see, they would battle with other Israelites back, like you say, it's that Mars Hill, Washington Park thing. And then I knew, we ain't putting no targets on no other groups or whatever. But I just knew it was a difference with, like, the Kingdom of Yahweh, Ben Aminim camp, and the IOG camp and sister camps, certain differences, right? But it wasn't like, they wasn't meeting up, gang banging, fighting over it. They give each other a shalom and, nice little friendly talking and going about their way. And I'm like, oh, so when go ahead. In
the 90s, though, they was just getting away from that Israelites would pop up at your class and test you on your doctrine.
Right.
They were just getting away from that, like when I was coming around, but you could hear about it and people be looking, and you see a suspicious Jake come to class, and they be like, is he here to thump? That's why that whole Bible thumping thing was like, is he here trying to test somebody or whatever? It was like the Kung Fu movies, man. You be like, oh, out of town, a stranger. He come to test you, come to that's the you using the Israel of God style on me.
Yeah, man. And let me say something. Cause see, when you was talking and you was talking about how you had to go, it was more convenient for you. I believe that was the word you was trying to use. You was saying progression, but
yeah, when
you left from 75th, which is the east side, it's the south side to everybody else, but when you from the Shire, we call that the east side. That's Terror Town, actually.
Yeah.
And you went to the west side. It made me think about something. One other thing that I love about these Israelite brothers and other groups, that come outside of the IOG groups in the Shire, was for the most part, their camps was in the hood. Like all their camps was in the roughest, they was in rough areas. You know what I'm saying? Like even brother Elijah, the Israel Church of Jesus, he in Gary, Indiana. And I was living out there. He is dead smack in the you know, where the Jakes is getting it in at. He in the hood.
Yeah, but that's why they said they really didn't want the Israel of God to leave from 75th, because it brought a certain type of spirit to the community.
Yeah.
Brothers that was doing stuff, and on the Sabbath day, the ushers be out there watching the cars and doing different stuff, and it'll just make the neighborhood on a Sabbath day will be it'll be a totally different neighborhood, and people respect people that was going to deal with the Bible and how y'all doing, and you know, the church doors was open basically. You know, the church was around and it was changing the community. And then with the food giveaway and the clothes giveaway and stuff, you get familiar with the people in the community and the, you know, and things of that nature. It just made neighborhoods better.
And you know what? And I saw this firsthand. When they left, man, when they left 75th, man, I was still living over there on Kingston. And I'm gonna tell you, man, the community was sick. They was like, man, what we gonna do? Y'all gone. You know, they look at they call the Hebrews, you know, they call them the brothers. Y'all the brothers, man. You know, they always felt a certain way, you know, and I see the difference. I'm not saying like just because it's a camp around crime gonna drop. No, I'm still doing what they do. But it was certain stuff like in that area, man, when they left, cats was just getting gunned down, like literally in that spot. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like on a like day-to-day basis. And the blessed, look, hold on, let me say this. I'm saying, look how the Most High worked. Brother Danny and the house of Jacob bought that old building over there. So now you finna have the house of Jacob over there in that same spot. And most of the people in that community is familiar with Danny because of the history that you brought up on how they, you know, him and Bowie was like brothers. You know, they brothers, basically. So it was like they familiar with him. And that's just finna, you know, that's the importance of this. You know, a camp or a class, or even if you want to say a church, is not supposed to be a parasite in the community. It ain't supposed to just take from, eat up, and put nothing back. And that's one thing I can say about all of those groups is that they put back. They put back and they mean something in the community. And that's the key I think people need to pay attention to with all the
I'm gonna give some constructive criticism here, and just because I never could speak to the elders and stuff, and hopefully it ain't that much of, you know, but you know, one thing that I hate that started happening is, and it's due to Jake's doing what they do, because they weren't keeping the feast days respectfully like they supposed to, and just trying to come at night and bring extra people and stuff and everything. The feast days, which I ain't been to a feast in Chicago in a minute, the feast days changed. It changed, and I ain't been to one in a while, but it's like it was something changed about it the last couple times right before I left with my mother. That I wasn't liking how, I think all the camps was doing it, how they was you know, not keeping it at night, something like that, not keeping it at night, but in the day and this and that for those that could get off work or something. It wasn't something about the feast changed to me. Now that's my constructive criticism, and people probably could think back to what changed or whatever, but that was one thing that the feast days changed for me, and for a person that was keeping them consistently when I was there, and then right before I left, they kind of changed up, and I really ain't been around brothers and sisters in the classes and keeping the feast. You know, I was like, something changed, because then we can, you know what, I ain't even gonna say what Danny keep his at, but you know, he keep it at the YD in that other spot. And I don't want to say that because, you know, it might be a little but anyway, it's like to go to them feasts, go to the Israel of God, go to Marlin and this and that. Man, feast days was the bomb though, because that was even another thing in the community. All the people you consider crackheads or bums and stuff, they knew if it was a feast day, man, you gonna come rack up, man. There's so much food that's left over that, yeah, come on in, this and that. The brothers that do the snow in the wintertime and different stuff, they would know when them feast days coming around, because you know, the certain pastors or brothers would tell them like, we gonna be feasting, and they be like, yeah, I'm going through there. Jerk chicken to this, that, and what? Ain't nothing like sitting around and you got a bunch of, cause you know Chicago full of a bunch of old Southern girls that came up and their mama was Southern. They got, you know, that soul food, but without the pork. Mama cooked the breakfast with no pork.
Hold up. And don't forget what you just named, jerk chicken. You know, Chicago is full of Jamaicans. Yeah. He got a bunch of them in there. You know what I'm saying? And that, whoo, you know what I'm saying? Okay, but let me say this as far as that. I can't say that I ever actually remember that, but I could kind of see that probably started to occur to a degree. But I could tell you now, if that happened, it probably was a little hiccup, Carl, because for the most part, what we basically do is, like, if one camp is keeping the feast at 12 noon, which would be, you know, during the daytime, then it's always another camp that kept it the night before at the beginning at nighttime.
Yeah, I know it's something to it. I really don't know. I don't really want to.
I'm gonna put emphasis on it. I know, because I'm there firsthand on it. I've dealt with it. And so basically what it is like, if you at the camp that keep it as far as the gathering, the Holy Communion at daytime at 12, then that night when it happens, people usually gather up at their cribs. And you know, that's so that's basically how it is. You know what I'm saying? And which is cool, because that's really in the scriptures, that's what they was doing. You know,
I'm just saying, I ain't in Chicago and I ain't really been around certain.
No, it was a good.
So I was just saying myself right before I left, like you said, what if it was a hiccup or whatever? The feast, it you know, with like I
could
something had changed that wasn't the same. Though it was the lowest feast day, but it was like it's somebody that made a move or did something.
Right.
It ain't the same no more. But you know, I ain't been there in a minute, and you know, I get down and do a feast of this and that'll be around, and it might be the same thing. It might have just been a little hiccup, but you know, I'm just acknowledging it for the old timers and old schoolers. If they know and they felt it, then it's like, yeah, nobody just never said that. And that brother brought up a good point. And then maybe, you know, people talk about it and fix the hiccup, or the hiccup might be fixed. I just, you know, pointed out for the old schoolers.
Yeah, you know, I'm right there with you also. It was a hiccup, bro. It's good. It was a hiccup. But I mean, that brings me to my next comment. We might as well go on off into it. And on that note, because, you know, so if anybody watching, y'all don't think that, you know, feel no type of way, we just keeping it 100. Because I think that's the best way to promote the truth, is be truthful. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't get on here and say nothing crazy that would start some controversy, but we just being truthful, because we want y'all to know how real to life, to earth this is. And the feast, man, bro, just for anybody listening, so y'all don't get confused, when Carl said he synced me at the Pentecost, yeah, that is a feast. But what he's talking about is like the 7-day feast, the feast that lasts for a week. So I just wanted to make that clear for them, Carl. So they'll be like, well, hold on, I thought he'd been to the feast.
We was dealing with the 50th day after the Passover. That's what that was. It was Pentecost.
Right.
It wasn't Tabernacle 7, you know, blah blah. You know, I'm not talking about
Pentecost. That was definitely Pentecost when I sent you. Because remember they was pulling up in school buses, bro. I mean, it was so cold, y'all. To all the Israelites listening, man, that live in those isolated states that, like, you don't have no other Israelites to sojourn with around you. I know you feel lonely. So all you got is online. I'm gonna encourage you to just keep the faith, because things will be coming near you. That's just the way the Most High working now. And if not, maybe the Lord will bless you to be able to come to one of these things in Chicago or other areas. But when Carl is talking, y'all hear him get excited when he talking about them feasts, because it is such a beautiful time. At that Pentecost that he came, right? It was so beautiful. I'm not gonna lie. I ain't never seen that many Israelites in my life. Never. They was pulling up in school buses. Because remember, Carl, they had me working as a greeter. So I had to be at the hotel, you know, to get off at the airport. They had me all the way out somewhere, me and some brothers, to greet these Israelites that's and you know, strangers that were coming from different states and some coming from different countries. And they had all this stuff set up so nice for them when they come in the hotel. We had food racks, you know, it was a bar, it was everything. And it was so nice, man, how they was pulling up. And I ain't gonna lie, this is when I knew. I said, man, this thing real. It was just the IOG camps, right? And we was looking like, dang, who was that pulling up in them buses? Like, we was trying to see who camps outside of course, the Chicago/Riverdale, which we know is the biggest. It's the big ones. I think Memphis pulled up. They were swole.
Yeah, Memphis, Atlanta, like Bowie was saying. See, I remember the Memphis camp when they was on Elvis Presley close to the mansion. Elvis Presley mansion in the little house.
Right.
I've been there a couple times with Bowie sitting down in that little spot. Used to be so little, you be sitting down eating your Sabbath little sandwiches and stuff. Everybody on top of everybody and stuff. A very intimate setting.
Right. And we was looking, because I ain't gonna lie, that's when I seen. I was like, boy, I think it was either Dallas or Houston. It got to be Dallas. But Dallas and Atlanta camp so big. I'm talking about them cats pulled up like 3 school buses. We was like, and then they was representing too, like ATL. I'm like, dang.
Yeah. You know, when I did the Mayat debate, I went to the camp down there. They got a nice big spot down there. I done been there. Every time I go to Atlanta, I go to the camp.
Man, I still ain't been. And I love that brother Doel, man. Shout out to Doel. That is one of the sharpest teachers.
Well, you know they supposed to have the what's that one something. They do it every year, and I be seeing them put up the pictures. He finally hit me in the inbox like, "What up, Jake? You just going down? You get your ticket." I ain't trying to go do the relationship thing because I ain't got no relationship, and I figure I'm straight on that anyway. But yeah, I'm gonna try to make that thing. It's in, I forget when it is, but he hit me with it this year. I was like, okay, the brother thought about me this year, because the other years I just see the after part. I see, you know what I'm saying? I'll be like, them Jays clean down there, man. What they did in Atlanta.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to try to hit down there too. I know what you're talking about. That one I forgot what they call it.
One accord.
Accord, right. One accord. I'm gonna have to check that out, because I always want to check out the Atlanta camp, you know, in person. Like I said, I love their teacher. You know, they got a few sharp.
Oh, yeah, man. You know,
that brother Doel, man.
Doel, and what's the other dude?
I think it's like is it Habakkuk or something?
Yeah, Habakkuk.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when I went down there, they was baptizing, which is good. Anytime you around and they baptizing new people, and you be like, welcome to the family, mama. You know what I'm saying? And they get dipped and get out that water, and they be so happy. Same way I was when I got cut and circumcised. It's like, you know, if I look on my baptism thing, I could tell the date I got baptized, and I know people got me on pictures and stuff because there was a lot of people taking pictures, and I don't know why nobody from my circle didn't take it. If they did, I don't know. I'm like, what my picture at? I ain't take no pictures.
Man, all I know, it's like when I got baptized, man, you know, I got baptized late. I'm in the record books as being one of the longest to ever be at the class and not get baptized. That's another story, because I don't want nobody digging that up. But it was floating around the internet. I ain't even had no picture or video of it. Other people got it all the way out in Texas and California. I'm like, how in the world y'all got it and I don't got one? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's a beautiful thing, man. And I don't want nobody to listen to this thing. We ain't doing no man worship or none of that. We just keep it real that this is all a reflection of the Most High God.
All my elders is brothers.
And what they tell us, Carl? What
Super Bowl parties with them?
Hold on. Stay on that note. I want you to tell the crowd so they'll know I ain't coercing you. And I think they know it if they listen to Sound Show on Debate Talk for You when Bowie was on there. What do they prefer us to call them?
Brothers, that's it.
Exactly.
My brothers.
All that pastor and this and that, that's just titles they get put there for whatever reason because it's in the book. But they don't care for that. They rather you call them brother such and such.
Yep. And when you know they elders, you ain't got to be like elder this. It's just brother.
Right. Because I mean, we do it because I'd be like, man, elder or whatever. And, you know, I ain't going to keep saying it. I might say that to you one time if we chilling for a few hours. I'm not finna, because if you keep saying, they're going to get irritated. Like, look, man.
Like I said, man, you know, when you've been at the Super Bowl party with these people and this and that and around them like everyday people, they just everyday people. You can just pull them to the side and talk the Bible and get some knowledge on something that you need something with, or you struggling with something and you need, yes, an elder to tell you, look, boy, you look, you know, we all done been through this, and half of us done made this same mistake, you know, then it's like, okay, it's just like I got 5 elder brothers. They tell me, look, when you turn this age, it's gonna be like this, and when you go this age, and when you get here, you're gonna start realizing this type of stuff. They elder brothers, but they all my brothers, and they just tell me about the things that, you know, they seen and, you know, learned and dealt with before I got there. You know, it's just like going through school and you like, look, man, I went through there. When you go there, this English teacher by the name of such and such, this how you do in her class, cause she kind of, you know, bugged out or crazy. Well, you know what I'm saying? They just put you up on game before you get there, so you don't have to go bump your head.
And I remember, bro, that I was talking to an elder, I believe it was Zadik, and it was a situation that was kind of, it was one of them serious Bible questions that I had. It was kind of serious. And I was kind of nervous to ask him. And he was like, man, look. The Lord ain't give me no preeminence over you. Say what you got to say, brother. And if it's in the book, we going to prove it. I said, okay, we going to keep it gangster like that from now on. I like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
They tell you real quick, we ain't got no private interpretation. You better not have no private interpretation. Ain't no private interpretation around here. If it's book, it's book. If it ain't, it ain't. Last time I really talked to Bowie on the phone, remember I was talking to you the other day, the last time I told him, he said, look, brother, correct whatever's wrong, even if it's in the Israel of God. And I ain't need to hear nothing else. You know what I'm saying? Correct whatever's wrong, even if it's in the Israel of God. And say, hey, how could I complain about that? So that's how I live my life, man. You know, when I deal with the Bible, we all know my history and we all know I ain't always dealing with the Bible. But if you knew, you don't know that. But if you've been around for a minute, you know, I love the Bible. Saved my life plenty of times, kept me out of a lot of trouble when I could have easily been in a lot of trouble. And, you know.
Yes, sir.
The one consistent thing in my life since 96, though, has been the Bible. No matter what goes on in the world and no matter how I stray, that's why I tell people they coming out with the Samson movie and this and that and stuff. As long as I'm still in covenant with God and I know I'm in covenant with him, I don't worry about nothing else. I'm in covenant with God. As long as I don't stray from him and he know what my heart is and he know who and exactly what I am, not covering up, hiding none of my dirt or nothing of that, because I can't do that anyway.
Right.
Then I'm good. I'm in covenant with God. I don't care what you say. Some of the greatest men in the Bible then did some stupidness and some ignorant and did some stuff they ain't had no business doing. And if you sit down and talk to them like people you gonna do in the kingdom, you're gonna be like, man, why did you do that?
Right.
Think about it. David gonna be king. He gonna be sitting up there, and you gonna be like, man, you would commit adultery with that man, wife, and killed him.
Right.
Bro, how did that happen? You David. How did hey man, I was still a man at the time. I did what men did. But repentant heart and being in covenant with God that's the saving grace, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, I just hope and pray. And that's all I live by, that faith, hoping and praying that, hey, Lord, hey, let's not end up getting out of covenant. I know you still gonna be there. Just hold me in line, and I don't want to get stupid and get out of covenant.
Man, bro, that's one of my biggest fears in life, man, is to wake up one day dead, if you know what I mean by that.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I know exactly.
Some people might crack up about that, like, this Negro crazy, but you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Wake up dead, and I done went out wrong and didn't get no time to repent. That is the man, bro. That's why now, if we want to get deep, which we ain't, just throw a little something out there. This is why I understand the difference between groups or religions that pray multiple times for tradition alone, and those who did it because it was a necessity to do it. When you look at our ancestor, the great prophet Daniel, or Daniel, as brothers like to say it, when he was in captivity, how was they able to catch him up on charges, Israel? They caught him doing what?
Praying when they told him don't pray.
And he did it how many times a day?
3.
So they knew he was going to be up there with that window open, facing Jerusalem, because why? It go back to what you said. He gave them their respect, but he did not fear them. He feared God. You see what I'm saying? You don't want to die cut off in the midst of your folly, because you heard about somebody talking about you out there being a religion tard, man. What up?
It's simple. You can't serve 2 masters, and though you try to deal with the secular world as much as you can, and you in covenant with them because you sign contracts and do different stuff, when it's go against the covenant of God, hey, bumped you. I'm about to do this thing over here with God. I'll holler at you when I get through with God. You God first, you second. Matter of fact, you should be over here doing this thing with me and God, and then you won't be tripping. We get through with that when we get through handling God's business, all right?
And like with me, right, I'm not saying I always do it, but I try to pray 3 times a day. And some people, when they get a little knowledge, they'll say, oh, you're doing that to the custom of David. No, I can show you where I think it was Solomon. I think it was David. Solomon said they did it about 10 times a day or something. I have to find a verse. Don't quote me on that. But my point is, I came into another understanding when I was reading it. And it's because, look, you can get cut off from the land of the living. It's different forms of cut off. You cut off from the nation, or you cut off from the land of the living, or you just cut off from God. That's the worst. But you can get cut off in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the night. So whenever you can get a chance to pray, you should pray. You see what I'm saying?
Well, I ain't gonna lie, I ain't the biggest prayer. I'm the one on staying in covenant with God and not getting stupid. And whenever I find myself stupid, I remember at some point, boy, you better go over there and get right. And it don't be prayer, it be meditation in the book and stuff. It'll be me. Even some days, like people been like, Carl, why you ain't been coming on? And I'm like, man, I've been studying and reading and doing different stuff that I normally don't do.
That's just as good, though. The meditating in the word is just as good as prayer. I'm
gonna say it like this. For as I know God to be, he the closest thing to like a brother Bowie, me, and like my eldest brothers. When I call them, we get straight to the Pacifics and say bye. We handle the business and the conversation that's needed, and we part ways. All right, talk to you later. See you. Okay.
Right.
Don't nobody like to be on the phone and even in each other presence, we gonna have the conversation and the time of our life for that hour or whatever. But once that over with, we give each other a little hug or whatever, part our ways. And it was nice to see you. But all this sentimental and this and that is strictly to the point. So the way I deal with God is just like that. The way I would deal with my brothers, Bowie, or people that I notice, they get straight to the point, take care of the business. It's like, only thing I see God is when you pray or anything, though, it's like, come on, man, you know what you're supposed to be doing. Just get right. Holler at you later. You know what you're supposed to be doing. Get right. Just do it. Repent, get right, and get off that folly. So when I'm on folly, that's how I look at it. I'll be like, if I go to God right now, he gonna tell me, God, you know what you're supposed to be doing. Just go get right.
And that's the point I'm making. For anybody that's listening, basically, as you can hear, we kind of got similarities on how we look at God, but we may deal with it a little bit different. But the truth of the matter is we both deal with God. And that's the point. You got to deal with him like he your father, like he your peeps. You got to keep it 100 with him because he can see it anyway. And what he like is you trying to play shenanigans with him. Like, I ain't gonna lie. It was times I did some stuff so foul, bro, I couldn't even pray. I'm gonna keep it 100. I'm saying in front of everybody. I was too, like, I don't know if it was embarrassed or I was scared. I ain't want to go pray to him. I'm like, man, let me give him some time, man, because he might be mad right now.
It's just like your old man.
Right.
Go talk to him. I know Pop's cool. I know he gonna be cool with it to a degree, but I can't go talk to him about that right now. That's a story I'm gonna keep for about 2-3 years, and then I let him in on
it. Right. And that's the depthness of it. I think some people, Israelites in general, whether you call yourself a Hebrew Israelite or not, has got a rap of being so technical that they think we not spiritual. Please, we spiritual on another level. We look at it like dude is sitting in our front room. Yeah. I know that. That's how I look at it. I'm like, man, I can't hide nothing from him.
Man, when Bowie was talking about him and God, he had a thing with God there before he met that woman, and she was like, well, I want you to teach me and baptize me and stuff. That was 03 for me. I was like, now, Lord, I know that I've been doing right, trying to get cut and circumcised, and I thought I had everything under control and everything figured out, and wasn't no openings for Satan to come and do nothing to me. And I had one day. If I'd have got through that one day, the whole year would have been straight. And that one day got me. And I was like, I fell for it, but Lord, you I know he don't do the temptation thing, but it was like, I know Satan worked for you too. And you might have was trying to see what I was going to do. And I got to go through this, but man, I didn't want to go through this. You know what I'm saying? It's like, nah, I ain't want to try on my fate in this capacity. You know what I'm saying? It was like I could have did without it. I was mad. And like I said, I used to go to them YMCA trips and stuff. And so I done seen white boys in the middle of a storm like Lieutenant Dan cursing God and stuff, and people be like, man, I'm gonna step over here while you doing that.
Yeah, right.
Hey, I'm not finna curse God in the middle of no storm. You crazy.
Right.
Like, you're crazy.
Right.
So
go ahead.
You got it. So it was like, man, that year, it was like, I ain't gonna curse him. I ain't stupid, but I ain't on good terms with him right now.
Yeah, man. And that's why, like, when you got understanding and you read like the book of Job, that book bring you chills. You know what I'm saying, Carl? I know you know what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. That became part of the mystery system. I accept good at the hand of God, and you can't accept evil.
You can't accept evil. You see what I'm saying? And people, some people think that's crazy because they have such a simple, simplistic mindset when it comes to spirituality. And they think the Bible is just such a controlled box. But the truth of the matter is, when you look at somebody like Job, right, what he went through, like I always say, if I'm going through something and everything just happened to be coming back to back, I say I'm going through a little Job moment. But the reason I always say this is my little Job moment, because ain't nothing you can go through compared to what Job truly went through. So it's just a little version. And that man never once sinned with his lips against the Lord. You know what I'm saying?
But nah, I would have rather not go through that. And then
exactly.
I had my time that after I reflected on that moment and everything, I was like, I got through it. It looked bright on the other side of it. But yeah, I was truly like, nah, I didn't need that. It made me stronger in different stuff. It let me know that I was straight, but at the same time, it's like, no, I didn't need that in life. I did not need that moment. But I got that moment.
Yeah. That's in the end of the day, man. I understand what he means by the refiner's fire. I know you know what that means.
Oh, yeah.
He take you through that fire. It's just like you grab, if you deal with coal and gold, coal and silver and all that copper, when you get it, it don't look like nothing. It look like a little piece of little dusty metal that you can pull it out. And then you put it through that fire. And while it's going through that fire, man, it's melting. It's tearing it up. But when it come out the other side, you can shape and mold it, and it's beautiful. It's just, can you survive that fire, though? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's why I tell people with these trials and tribulations over social media and different stuff, I'll be like, look, man, the worstest part of my life, I done already went through it. That I'd have been to hell and back. I done already been to hell and back, man. It ain't nothing. All this stuff y'all talking, this is a walk in the park, son. If you survive certain things that I didn't survive, made it through it with your marbles still.
Yeah.
You ain't been through nothing. This stuff you trying to put me through is like, come on, man.
Yeah, and on that note, man, same thing. I feel the same way, man. Like, I have people that meet me. Like, some people see me online and didn't even know, my position, that I was, confined to a wheelchair or whatever. And then they'll meet me, or some people that do know me, you know what I'm saying? They be like, man, we don't even look at you like you in no chair. Like, you know what I'm saying? How you just be so cool and doing and going? I say, man, what you want me to do? Sit around and die? I survived all the bad stuff. The fact that I'm still alive is a blessing enough, because he's still giving me a chance for my tail not to burn. And I can straighten some stuff out, and I can teach some other people what I know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's like, I didn't have a pity party then. I most definitely finna have no pity party now. I'm on the good side of things. I done seen the sunshine after the rain. What you talking about? Like I said, I done been through a tornado. You gonna bring a little new storm watch where the wind is blowing hard? Oh man, it can blow down all them trees. I'm good. I done been in a tornado. What's a little heavy wind?
And you know what? I can't remember what elder it was, but it was an elder that every time I would say to him, like, man, how you doing, bro? He'd be like, I woke up in the land of the living. I'm good. And I understand that. He used to always say it. So I got to the point, I just stopped saying, how you doing, bro? Because I knew what he was going to say. I understand that. I'm in the land of the living. I'm good. I can always correct the wrong. And that's real talk.
Well, I started telling people, especially when you hear that reincarnation and different stuff, I was like, every day you go to sleep and wake up, it's reincarnation. Why you think I said sleep is cousin to death? You can wake up tomorrow and fix what you messed up yesterday. And you learned something yesterday or didn't learn something that you can learn today. That's why they say you should learn every day. And then Paul tell you die daily. Whatever you didn't die to yesterday, you got the opportunity to implement it today. Cut it off.
Yeah.
So every day is something you should be adding or taking away, adding on to what need to be and taking away from what don't need to be. And then that's refining. Every day is a new day of refinery. But you know, as we were saying, once you've been through that flame though, you like, you know, that's that whole knowing thyself. That's when you be like, I am that I am. I done been through the fire, this and that. I am who I am now. What you getting is the real deal. And it's like, it, you know, if you righteous, you righteous. You wicked, you wicked. So at times, different stuff might show itself and it look a certain way. But, you know, if you righteous, you righteous. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. I definitely know what you're saying, man. And so yeah, you know.
And that was the David thing. Even the most righteous man, there's only been one Holy One of Israel. I ain't met the second Holy One of Israel.
Right.
I'm the only one of Israel that's been the Holy One. You know, so ain't no second Holy One. It's just a matter of time before you do something and find yourself in an awkward position, an adverse situation in this world. It's just how you gonna deal with it. And even if you fall in the midst of it, are you gonna raise back up and say, I'm still in covenant with the Lord? Are you gonna get up out of the trough with the swine and say, I'm gonna go to my father's house and be the prodigal son? Or are you gonna sit there and keep eating with the pigs?
Right. Right. Well, you know, you think we touched on everything we need to touch on?
I mean, for the most part, I mean, it's Chicago, it's Israel in Chicago, and all them camps that spread, all of them, they east, west, south, overseas, all of them spread.
Yeah, and I'm definitely got plans, man, for the shot this summer, man. You know what I kind of talked to you in private about. Got some plans, man, but we about to be really going full throttle on this word, man. We gonna be
That's why I be trying to tell people, whether you know or not, I got family somewhere everywhere. I mean, people that I know, people that, like when I was at Marlin Camp and stuff, they was first coming there, that I was like they first teachers because I was doing the class after class and stuff. And so, you know, that's the Q&A time when you ask questions. You might sit in on the lesson, but when you want to get intimate with the word and everything, it's like, okay, Bible study after the class. So someone was like, man, this brother taught me not to deal with the folly, but learn these fundamental things, and that you got to learn these before you can graduate to the next conversation and stuff. And sometimes they be hearing and seeing stuff and they be hollering at me. I'll be like, brother, it's cool. It's cool. It's cool. It's cool. It's cool. You know what I'm saying? Nobody get caught up with me in this internet stuff. I'm playing crazy dumb and all of this stuff. And don't worry about it. I'm in control. I got it. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people be watching me. A lot of people know me. You know, I've been around, and not just in Chicago, but the early days of blog talk and different stuff. You know, like when I talked to what's his name, Special K, what your man got to do with me, from that song and everything. And we was talking and just caregiving for my mother and people caregiving for their mother and different stuff. And you know, going through similar situations and talking and dealing with stuff. I got so many people and family all over the world. And one thing I don't do, I don't call up on people unless I need them for whatever. I ain't finna ask you for no money. You know what I'm saying? If you send me some, cool. I'm not finna ask you for no sympathy, no this, no nothing. But if I need it, I'll be the first one to scream out. Cause one thing I used to tell my mama all the time, I was like, the Lord ain't gonna send you no money. The Lord ain't gonna do that. He gonna send somebody to you that's got it. You gotta look for the person that's gonna come through with the blessing. You can't be sitting up there and miss the person that come through talking about I'm waiting on the Lord. That's the person. He just sent him to you. He always gonna take care of people by people. So ain't no use of crying to the Lord. You know, if you have not, it's because you ask not, and it ain't always because you don't ask the Lord. So I don't go to people unless I need them. I don't cry unless I'm in dire danger or I just ain't got nothing at all. If I can do it, I can muscle it up. Same thing with my family. I got those that I talk to more often than others, but if I make that phone call, they kind of like, boy, what's going on with you? What's your story? Cause you don't call unless you have to, or this, you know what I'm saying? Certain ones, you know. So it's life, man. I'm glad to live it, man. I know a lot of people I sit around, I be like, man, they didn't make it to get gray hairs. They didn't make it to see 40. I'm sitting up here looking at their children, they grown and stuff, and I'm like, boy, your daddy never got to see you, you know what I'm saying, mature.
Right.
You know, so it's life, man. It's a beautiful thing, man. You know, it's a beautiful thing, man. And the effect that the IOG done had on me, the House of Jacob, the Church of Israel, the Church of Jesus too. Because I didn't know Elisha when I used to go to the Israel of God and this and that. He might have been around, but I never, you know, never dealt with him, never talked with him, never met him. I never physically ever met him. We done had our conversations over Facebook and over the phone, but I never physically met him. So, you know, but, you know, I learned from him too, because he got a certain way and certain things that when he bring it, it's like, that's his subject.
Yeah.
That's his subject. That's his subject. That ain't his subject. That's his subject. And that's his subject. And he got his subject. So I'm going to just get back to that right quick. So that's 4 teachers.
Yeah.
That's elders of camps that I could respect from the Israel of God, the House of Jacob, the Church of Israel, and Israel, the Church of Jesus, that when I was doing study and doing different study tapes and ministry, I get this teacher and I stack up lessons with that. Then I take the other teacher that I thought probably was not as sound as that, and I say, well, I'm going to study his after I study his.
Right.
And I would study, and you get these different collages of viewpoints.
And what's the key, Israel? Because I've done it too. And what you find out is, even though maybe do it a little different than the other one, or one may not know as much as the other one on a certain subject, what you will find out is the spirit of truth is going to confirm. And they usually all be on point in the same subject. And I'm like, wow, you know they ain't talking to each other.
It's going to be the fundamental basics, but then it's that little, I studied a little deep on this subject. You know what I'm saying? I can give you a little bit more detail on this. And I take it like I tell people about the mob when Lucky Luciano was like, I was the first amongst equals. All of us equals, but when it comes to a certain subject, it's this the first cat you won't talk to. If you talk to him, you might not have to talk to the next cat. But if you go to the next cat and talk to him, you won't have to go talk to that other one you should have talked to first. Because he probably going to leave something out that the other one wasn't going to leave out. That was the one you wanted to go talk to first, so you wouldn't have to go and take 2 or 3 conversations. You see what I'm saying? Because that's his subject matter once again. That ain't his subject matter. He good, and he know a lot of stuff, but when it come to this, you won't go to him first. That's the man when it comes to that subject. And that's something that people don't take the time out and really pay attention to. You know, I think people lose out on that a lot of them great teachers, but they got subjects that you know, you want to go to them first. If you want the proper in-depth aspect of it, you go to them first.
Right.
It's certain things I go to Bowie from. It's certain things because the way he gonna angle it and the way he gonna tell it to you and the emphasis that he gonna put on certain things is like, that's what you need. Right. Danny, like I said, out of all Bowie lessons, I learned a lot of stuff from Bowie. I learned a lot. But when I heard that love work no ill to your neighbor, it was like, it was a revelation that was like larger than life at the time. And the conviction of that lesson when he was doing it, it was just like, now that's what I needed. I don't think Bowie do this lesson. He would even do it. He probably understand it just as well as Danny. But the conviction and the way that Danny gonna bring it, brought it, was like, it was like, that's who I need that from. I wouldn't even go to nobody else and try to get it. Mm-hmm. If anybody got that lesson and you ever heard that lesson, he laid it out on that lesson. You like, psh. And he probably did it a couple times, so you got to know which lesson it was. You got to remember what year it was that he taught it in the exact lesson. Because, you know, most definitely back then, one thing, and I ain't even gonna lie, it changed up, but people kept using the same titles, you know, and they'll switch the lesson up some. They'll take the middle part, put it in the front, and put the front in the middle. But it's like, come on now. Y'all coming with the same titles and the same lessons. I understand there's a lot of new people coming around, but somebody been around here about a little bit more than 5 years, 10 years. That's the thing. Younger teachers coming in that I see is like, okay, younger teachers, they've been around on YouTube and Facebook. They coming with better titles. Well, not better, but different titles that emphasize, you know, I'm a subject and title, man. So it's like that title, even if he don't teach it right, the title is catchy. Right. I'm gonna use that title and I'm gonna switch up to, you know, I'm gonna switch it up a little bit and teach it myself like this. But that title, yeah, that was a bomb title, you know. It's a perfect subject and perfect perspective on how to teach it. Though sometimes, you know, people might not teach that title or that lesson, you know. But that's the thing, when you feel you are teaching another brother, that's when you need to get up out of somebody else's class, camp, or whatever, and go somewhere that need a teacher. That's what, when you heard Rodney and different people talking, it ain't that people in Chicago, at least, they just have animosity towards somebody and lead a class, but it's like, okay, I've been here for 10 years. The world need another teacher. Right. The West Side need a teacher. Right. You know what I'm saying? The suburbs need a teacher. Mm-hmm. You know, because they can't get to this one spot. Right. So it's like, it's time to leave from up on the hill and go out here. And I've been here. You an elder now. You done learned all this stuff. Ain't no use of sitting around here. Everybody around here know what you know. Everybody around here, you know what I'm saying, capable of dealing with all the new people. You need to go over there, bro, and spread this gospel. You can't be huddled up in the same spot all the time. That's why the Lord spread it us so much. Yeah. Israel had it, they would all be in, it'll be just like Babylon. They'll be like, we done built us a tower and we gonna be right here till the Lord come back. And it's like, but you gotta go teach them people over there. We gonna be right here till the Lord come back. Nah, man, spread this thing out. You go over there and you go over there. We'll take the east, you take the west, you go north, and we'll go south. All right, holla. Meet back here in a year or so. Right. You gotta evangelize, you gotta get out there. And some people just like sitting in camps You know, like you said, you know, it took me so long to get baptized because I hadn't got circumcised. You know what I'm saying? But some people be sitting up there, you be like, man, you been here 15 years, you ain't never been baptized? You ain't tried to get circumcised? You been around 15 years and you ain't, and though it might not be a lot of cases, there's some cases like that. Hold up, bro. You telling me you been around here and you ain't been circumcised, baptized, you ain't, what you been around so long for? You know what I'm saying? I know that the elders that's been around 40 years and seen this dude for about 15, 20 years are like, oh, look, you been around here. Who baptized him? Don't nobody remember baptizing you. You baptized before you got here? You know what I'm saying? Lumps on the log. Come on, man. You can't be just sitting around for 20 years somewhere and never put forth the effort to, you know what I'm saying? You ain't joined the choir. You ain't doing no youth stuff. You ain't helping with the clothing giveaway. What you around here for? You a servant of God. You supposed to be in
right.
the field putting in some work. And that was my thing. And that's supposed to be anybody's thing. At the end of the day, man, you can't just sit around in somebody's class and, you know, just sit up under their work and don't get to working.
Right.
And that's why I struck out on the internet and was like trying to put in work, you know what I'm saying? And trying to fulfill the void that was wide open. You know, and I'm glad all the camps eventually made it and they understood because they started getting all them internet questions and where you get that from? Well, I was on Facebook and woo. Facebook. Yeah, I think we need to start getting some people on Facebook and the internet because we get a lot of questions and answers from, you know.
Right. Yeah, man, it's social media thing, man, and it took it to a whole nother level. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you definitely got to, you know, if you out here, you sitting on that truth, ain't no need of sitting on it. You know, you can do things in a certain matter. You ain't gotta have to dictate how you do it, but
you heard Bowie say he was about to sit on it till that woman pushed him.
Yeah.
Brothers to sit on it.
Yeah.
Like me, I'd be like, somebody asked me today, they heard me, was it talking to you or somebody? And they was like, no, I was talking to somebody about some business or whatever, but it wasn't there one of y'all, but it had to deal with the internet and the Bible and different stuff. And they was asking me, and I said, well, you know, I really never wanted to be the preacher. You know, I'd be kicking against like, yeah, let me start a camp with it. Nah, because for the most part, I would have to clean up stuff that I ain't really got out of my system yet. And I ain't the cold turkey guy on nothing. I don't just go cold. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just never go cold turkey on nothing. So it's like, I don't know how much more I need to get out of my system, but I need to purge myself of a couple more things before I try to call myself, you know, leading a flock. Because that's one thing all the brothers I know, the elder brothers, and most definitely I most definitely hear Bowie say it. If you mess up as the elder, the head, or the pastor of the congregation, and you mess these people up, you won't have to answer to the Lord. That's a scary thing. You already dangling for your life and try to save yourself, and you got all these other people blood that might end up on your hand if you mess up. Ooh, no. I can't answer for y'all. Hard enough, I'm gonna have to deal with my own stuff.
Yeah.
But then I'm gonna have to answer for y'all. No, that's a grave responsibility, baby. I ain't just girded my loins and been ready to deal with it. You know, that when you gotta have them kahunas. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be a man to do that. Cause you know you taking on a grave responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
I did the little children class and after Sabbath class and this and that and everything, and I was doing my thing when I did it. I was an honorable man. I wasn't tripping or nothing like that. I was, you know, but you know, them years I had to be down here with my mother. When that stopped and I got stuck down here, I got stuck in a certain mindset. I might even been going through depression. I don't know, but I ain't never been had depression for as I know, so I ain't claiming it. But I went through my thing, you know, and I'm trying to see when I'm gonna leave Arkansas to start branching out more this year. So year that I think gonna be a big year for me and Israel Doctrine and stuff, but heaven only knows.
Yeah, man. Same for me, man. I got a lot of plans, I say God willing these things to come forth. And it's gonna be a lot of things. I'm just telling everybody that's watching, keep your eye open, man. Israel is making moves. You're gonna see the ones that's sincere and true about this word, who ain't just doing it to be seen. And that's gonna be, you check them fruit, man. Start checking them baskets, man. Be a produce checker. Start checking the fruits, because we definitely cats about to start getting out here, man. I know as far as me and the walls of Jericho, which is my ministry, man. You know what I'm saying? Keep your eyes on Hebrews in the hood. And as far as the show today, I think this has been a perfect, beautiful show. I thank you for having me on here, brother. My time gotta get cut short because I gotta go somewhere. Somebody been waiting on me. Yeah. Yeah, I just want to say, but let me say this, Carl. Yeah, man. So y'all get a chance, subscribe to Hebrews in the Hood channel, man. Check out y'all can check out the whole interview in its entirety. Or if not, you can also check it out on the Debate Talk for You Sound Showtime show. And it's gonna be more to this. I'm gonna load this to my channel too. Carl, permission. I'm gonna load this to my channel as well, because I might just start a whole, because I like it. It's been natural, it's been flowing, and it's been 100. And I know it can help people that's sitting here that's been following the brother Carl for years. It can help them if they ever had like a doubt in their mind. You know what I'm saying? It's real, man. Time for games is over with. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it ain't nothing like the old school.
Yeah.
And that's basically what we did, just reminisce about the old school back in the days. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like I said, certain readers and certain lessons and certain eras. Like you say, the Israel of God in Riverdale now. But when it was on 75th, you know what I'm saying? Cats from 75th would tell you, yeah, when they was over here, ooh, I can remember. You know what I'm saying? So it's certain eras. Growing up in school and stuff, or football teams, basketball teams, and different stuff. It's just certain eras and certain times when it's like, man, yeah, y'all having it good, y'all doing your thing. But back in the day, doing this era, doing this time, it'll never be another reading combo or this and that like them brothers that was reading at that time. With the fire and knowing how to bounce off of Bowie or Danny and different stuff. You know what I'm saying? It might be another time where it's good, but it won't be like that. You'll be like, come on, man. That's like bell bottom stacks in the throat and a butterfly collar. You'll never have it like that again.
Yeah. About to make real, man. I enjoyed it, bro. Thank you, bro.
All right, man. Well, I'm gonna say peace, and I'm finna go check on my channel, see if they done let me out of jail over there.
And yeah, man. Yeah, buddy. Shalom, man. It's all good.
All right, peace, y'all. We out.